Update 3 on Tropical Storm Gabrielle, newly reformed in the past 24 hours and has certainly intensified to a wind speed of around 50 miles per hour at this time. Pressure is 1003 millibars and position is 30.9 degrees north, 64.8 degrees west, which puts it just south of Bermuda at this time. And the storm is expected to move towards the north, passing very close to Bermuda and then possibly threatening the Atlantic Canada coasts as a tropical storm or as a post-tropical storm, or maybe even transitioning between the two as it heads towards those areas. Could brush Nova Scotia and then moving on to Newfoundland and then out into the North Atlantic. Tropical storm warnings currently in effect for Bermuda, of course, because the storm's very close to Bermuda at this time. We could be seeing some tropical storm conditions present at this time or in the next few hours. You can certainly see on the radar imagery here how the rainfall has been mainly staying just southeast of Bermuda, the island itself, but we see an 80% probability of tropical storm conditions in the next 96 hours or so. As a result of Gabrielle, it will be moving through the area fairly slowly, but we'll see how it does as it moves towards the north. You can see most of the rainfall is towards the northeast on that radar imagery there. So if that does move towards the west, perhaps just a little bit, that could mean Bermuda gets quite a bit more rain than what otherwise would have been the case. This is the current sea surface temperatures, and you can see generally warm temperatures, 26 degrees or above. Bermuda's that small speck there in the western Atlantic, but certainly warm enough temperatures for a little while yet, at least for a day or two at least. But this is the intensity comparisons. You can see how some gradually intensify it. The red line there, the DSHP peak, can get at just below hurricane status, which as it moves towards Newfoundland. This is the current track forecast. You can see that only the red line is really relevant here because the other two appear to be out of date, but the red line certainly has a storm curving first of all towards the west slightly and then towards the northeast, towards Atlantic Canada. This is the shear comparisons as well. You can see how wind shear is expected to remain around as it is at the moment, which is moderate, 20%, and could rise as time goes on, which will certainly put an end to the storm if it does interfere. But this is sea surface temperatures as well, generally 28 to 29 degrees at the moment, but that will fall like a rock eventually as it moves towards the north, as it heads towards Canada. The relative humidity comparisons generally around 50% at the moment, not entirely conducive, and will possibly fall over the next day for a little while. This is the current satellite imagery and the floater. You can see how most of the thunderstorms and rainfall associated with the storm has moved just a little bit away from the centre. The centre is starting to become just a little bit exposed as it moves towards Bermuda, very close to the Bermudan islands at the moment at this time. You see dry air there on that water vapour imagery just hanging off to the north. The storm itself moving towards the north. Intense rainfall appears to be decreasing somewhat, waning at the moment. We'll see how that goes over the next few hours, but at this time it looks like the core of the storm, the worst of it, will pass just to the east of Bermuda. But I think we should certainly expect on the island some inclement weather conditions over the next day or two, and possibly tropical storm force winds, and of course higher gusts as well. This is the current world tropics situation. 94C currently in the central Pacific, 93L in the Atlantic with a 20% chance of development. Tropical Storm Gabrielle and Tropical Storm Humberto on the verge of being the first hurricane of the season at this time. An update on that following very soon. We also have two invests in the Pacific, Western Pacific, 95W and 96W. But in the Atlantic right now, this is the current situation. 93L with a low chance of formation in the next 48 hours in the Atlantic, not too far from the Yucatan Peninsula, just north of Honduras, and the two storms Gabrielle and Humberto fairly easily recognisable there on that satellite imagery. 2013 compared then, it is the 8th tropical storm. Well, Gabrielle was the 7th to form, but it has reformed. It doesn't count as another one, but it is 8 tropical storms so far this year with no hurricanes yet, but that may change very soon. And of course no major hurricanes. It's 100th place out of the 163 or so seasons on record, since fairly reliable records began at least, and entering the top 100, but still a long way to go if 2013 is going to be a busy season. And don't forget, you can track this storm, and indeed any others that form or are out there at the moment at the website force13.com/stormtracking.html. That's the main page for it. There you can see the tracking map with the overview world map where all the storms are, including invest and post-tropical systems. We'll follow them as long as they remain a threat. with tables at the top and bottom showing their intensities and indeed any warnings that are currently in effect. So you might want to check that out in between videos, because that will probably be the most up-to-date place to be. You can also find us elsewhere on the web, Facebook and Twitter. Just search Force 13. You should find us fairly easily enough, and please do, on any of these mediums, drop a comment if you've got anything to say about the storm, or indeed anything, any questions you might want to direct to me. But until the next update on Gabrielle, which will probably be at some point tomorrow, that's all for now from here, with another update on Humberto following in just an hour or two.